Liberation Theology Book Breakdown. This is Marx in the Bible by Jose Porfirio Miranda, Intro and Chapter 1. Miranda sees confusion in the church and in all of Western culture, and he sees the biblical worldview as a correction to that confusion. He sees Karl Marx coming out of this worldview, agreeing with other Christian authors that Karl Marx belonged to the category of the prophets of Israel, and both his messianism and his passion for justice originated in the Bible. Describing the purpose of his book, he says, "I will not attempt to find parallels between the Bible and Marx, but rather simply to understand the Bible. Our method will be the most rigorous and scientific exegesis. If we find coincidences with Marx, we will note them in passing. It is not, however, the number of intersections that matters, but rather the fundamental connection which challenges the whole reality which calls itself Christian civilization. The West or Christianity, either or. This is the conclusion of our study." The first question Miranda addresses regards property. Recent popes have denied an absolute right to private property, but in the not-so-recent past, popes approved of that right. How is this possible? He explains that popes use a concept of property from Thomas Aquinas and the Church Fathers, one that is different from the common sense understanding. St. Thomas and the popes understand it as the ability to care for and distribute. All people have a right to use property, so ownership should be used to meet everyone's needs. He points to the word tzedakah from the Old Testament, which is translated as almsgiving or charity, but actually means justice. Alms are owed to the person in need from the one who has excess. He gives a lot of quotes from the Church Fathers expressing this idea, but here's one from St. Ambrose. "You are not making a gift of your possessions to the poor person. You are handing over to him what is his." So the Pope's concept of property ownership was different, but they'd also only defended it on the assumption that the property was legitimately acquired. Miranda dips into economics to challenge that assumption. The average person needs a job to survive. Employers can exploit that need to pay low wages. Popes have recognized this injustice, which is why they've defended the right of workers to organize into unions. But even if workers unionize and get better wages, employers can negate that wage increase by charging higher prices for their products. Unions defend workers as workers, but they don't defend them as consumers. Unless you win the lottery, all large accumulations of property come from one of two methods: browbeating workers to accept an unjust wage, or charging an unjust price. Therefore, while popes have supposed that wealth is mostly legitimate, Miranda says that both the recent advances in economic science and the understanding that the Bible and the Church Fathers had of the matter demonstrate that the supposition is indeed false. He quotes the prophet Amos's description of how wealth is acquired. "Well then, since you have trampled on the poor man, extorting levies on his wheat, those houses you have built of dressed stone, you will never live in them, and those precious vineyards you have planted, you will never drink their wine. Assemble on Samaria's mountain and see what great disorder there is in that city, what oppression is found inside her. They know nothing of fair dealing. It is Yahweh who speaks. They cram their palaces full with violence and spoliation." Tomorrow I'll break down chapter 2. May God's kingdom come.